core of CBT is the thought-emotion-behavioral loop. This happens to run our performance as thoughts shape emotions, emotions drive behavior, and behavior reinforces identity and outcomes. And breaking this loop early can change everything for you in your performance. The thought-emotion-behavior loop is the central operating mechanism of CBT. For high performers, understanding and disrupting this loop is the most effective way to prevent self-sabotage under pressure. Thoughts shape emotions. Performance is rarely dictated by the event itself, but rather by the interpretation of that event. Your automatic thoughts that are like instantaneous judgments determine how you feel. For example, if an athlete thinks I must not fail, this high-pressure thought triggers anxiety. If they instead think I thrive here, they experience a sense of challenge rather than a threat. Cognitive distortions can be common. High achievers often use all or nothing thinking, such as if I pause, I'll fail, which immediately generates fear. And these emotions drive behaviors. Emotions are not just feelings, they are physical signals that prime the body for action. It just depends on what the emotion we're feeling is. Fear-driven action, which happens when fear is triggered, the brain seeks immediate relief. For high performers, this often manifests as avoidance behaviors. And avoidance behaviors are tough because they're the hardest ones to see. It is easier to see the fight behaviors play out other than the flight behaviors. Overworking to outrun anxiety, or procrastinating on high-stakes tasks, or micromanaging to maintain a sense of control are all examples of ways that avoidance behavior comes out. The thing I see the most in the work I do with Premier Performance is short-term relief leading to long-term sabotage. Avoidance provides temporary dopamine hits and relief, but it reinforces the underlying fear that I can't do this, creating a self-sustaining cycle. Almost always are looking for escapes and short-term ways out to feel better, which works. But the problem is it builds this thing up, and it's so hard to do it that we keep avoiding the things that we need to do, and that leads to that long-term sabotage getting in the way of the success you want. On top of that, behavior reinforces identity and outcomes. Repeated behaviors eventually solidify into habits and identity, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. This can be such as the identity trap. If a leader constantly micromanages because they fear failure, they reinforce an identity tied to being the only one who can do it right. This makes them less likely to delegate in the future, even as their workload becomes unsustainable. They feel like it has to be them all the time. It can also be outcome reinforcement. Negative behaviors like avoiding rest lead to worse outcomes like burnout, which then provides data that confirms the initial negative thought of I am failing. So it kind of feeds that loop, which is why breaking the loop early changes everything. The sooner the better. This is why we talk about so often that recognition is the first step, because the quicker we can see a pattern playing out, the quicker we can break it. And this is what we're doing here with the Premier Mindset. It's trying to help you guys see these patterns and loops to break them sooner and quicker in your life. And even if you don't know how to break them, that's where you guys hit us up at Premier Performance so we can do it with you. We can build a plan to break these loops and set you up for success in a way you never thought possible. The power of CBT lies in its ability to disrupt this loop at any of the 3 points. The first is engaging the prefrontal cortex. We name it to tame it. By simply naming the thought, such as I'm having the thought that if I rest, I'll fall behind, can shift activity from the emotional amygdala to the rational prefrontal cortex, restoring logic. So just naming it can go very far by itself.